Hi friends, welcome to our YouTube channel Naraj Academy. The meaning of this lecture is to discuss about the analog communication systems of electrical engineering of the IES or ESC prelims questions in a very detailed manner. And if you like the content of our channel, then please do like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon button. So whenever you upload a new video, the direct notice comes on your mobile. If any improvements needed in our video lectures, then please do comment in the comment section. We will definitely include all those improvements in the coming lectures. So why to waste more time? So let's get started. So now we are going to solve the 71st question. See the question here. The power distributed by a frequency modulated wave in 10 ohm resistance when the amplitude of the carrier wave is 12 volt and the amplitude of the message signal is 6 volt will be. So in the question they are given a FM. For this FM they are also given the peak value of the message signal and also the peak value of the carrier signal. So the peak value of the message signal is 6 volt and the peak value of the carrier signal is 12 volt. So we need to find what is the power, the amount of power which is dissipated in this. The resistance R is equal to 10 ohm. We need to figure out. So what are the four options? Option B, which is 7.2 watt, is the correct solution of this question. So let's solve this numerical. So this is the standard equation of the FM signal. So therefore here VC wideband FM signal. So VC into sigma is equal to minus into plus into Jn of beta cos 2 pi into Fc plus n FM t. So therefore here n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. So therefore now I am going to take here n is equal to 0. So when n is equal to 0, Vc into J0 of beta cos 2 pi. So as n is 0, so therefore only Fc is going to present. So Fc into t plus Vc into except 0 means except 0 everything. So n is equal to minus into plus infinity means except 0 remaining all terms summation I am going to take here. So this is called as a carrier signal, and this all these sigma terms are called as the sideband signals. So all these are sideband signals. Now I need to find what is the power in this S of WB FM. So power is nothing but the total power in the signal is nothing but this is a carrier power plus sideband power. So each and every signal we need to do the RMS by R. RMS. So power is equal to what? Power is equal to V square by R. So V square by resistance R. So V is nothing but, suppose if the resistance is not given in any question, then by default we are going to assume the resistance is equal to 1 ohm. But in the question they are given some resistance value. So therefore we have to think this one. So therefore power is equal to V RMS square by R. So for each and every signal we have to find what is the RMS. So here the RMS value is the peak value we know. The RMS is nothing but by root 2. So therefore we see J naught of beta by root 2 whole square by R plus. So similarly for this also, for each and every term we have to take here. So therefore so sigma, so from n is not equal to 0 except n not equal to 0 everything. So every coefficient is same, which is Vc Jn of beta by root 2 whole square by R. Summation for summation n not equal to 0 means for every term except n is equal to 0 every term we are going to take here. So if you see carefully from all these two things, the common term is Vc square by 2. So Vc square by 2R is common. So then so J naught of beta is also included. So except 0 everything is included. So therefore finally we can write it as sigma n is equal to minus infinity plus infinity Jn square of beta. So this is nothing but 1. So in the Bessel coefficients we are going to know this value is equal to 1. Sigma n is equal to minus infinity plus infinity Jn square of beta is equal to 1. So therefore finally the power in the wideband signal is Vc square by 2R. So this is the formula. So therefore Pt is equal to Vc square by 2R is the formula. By using this formula only we are going to solve this numerical. So in the given they are given the peak value of the carrier signal is 12 volt and the peak value of the message signal is 6 volt and the resistance is 10 ohm. So we need to find what is the power dissipated in this 10 ohm resistance. So if Pt is equal to Vc is 12. So 12 square by 2 into 10. So if you solve this one we are going to get 7.2 watt. So if you see carefully, this power is independent of the peak value of the message signal. So no matter whatever the message signal, always the total power is going to depend upon only on the carrier signal. So now we are going to solve the 72nd question. See the question here. The waveform A into cos of omega 1t plus k into cos omega 2t is. So we need to find what is this waveform, whether this is a FM waveform or PM waveform we need to figure out. So therefore this is nothing but a FM waveform and also so the equation is same for the FM and also PM phase modulation. So let's discuss something more facts about this one. So this concept I have told you in the previous example and let me repeat it again here. The angle modulation means we are going to change the angle of the carrier signal. The standard carrier signal waveform is Vc of t is equal to Vc into cos of 2 pi Fct. Suppose we are going to change only Fc, then also we are going to change the Fc is changes means theta, cos theta is also changes. So therefore angle modulation, and if 2 pi Fct is also changes means this is nothing but theta. So if this total is also varying, then also theta is going to vary. So this both are going to, so this is called as a If only frequency is changing means frequency modulation. If the phase is changing means phase modulation. But overall, these both cases are going to change the angle of the signal. So therefore, we can say the angle modulation means we are going to get the FM and PM. So FM is frequency modulation and PM is phase modulation. So frequency modulation has two things, wideband FM and narrowband FM, and phase modulation has wideband PM and narrowband PM. So therefore now the standard equation for everything, so AM means FM and PM both have the same standard equation, which is S of t is equal to Vc cos 2 pi fct plus beta into cos 2 pi fmt. This is the standard equation for both AM for FM and also the PM, phase modulation and the frequency modulation. See, in the question they are given, this is the equation A cos omega 1t plus k into cos omega 2t. If you compare both these, Vc is equal to A and omega 1 is equal to 2 pi fc, k is equal to beta and omega 2 is equal to 2 pi fm. So therefore we can conclude that this equation is nothing but standard equation for angle modulation. Means angle modulation means for FM and also PM. So this is nothing but this is a standard equation for both the FM and PM. This is the standard equation. So therefore we can conclude this equation is for both FM and AM. So for FM and PM we cannot tell whether this is only FM or PM, we cannot say. This is only for both. This is for both FM and PM. So this is the standard equation for both FM and PM. So now we are going to solve the 73rd question. See the question here. In FM, in phase modulation, the phase deviation is proportional to. So in phase modulation, the phase deviation is proportional to. The four options. Option C, message signal, is the correct solution of this question. So let's solve this numerical. So now we are going to prove this one. So message signal, the standard waveform is m of t is equal to Vm cos 2 pi fmt, and the carrier signal, the standard waveform is Vc into cos 2 pi fct. See, I have already told you for the PM is nothing but we are going to change the angle of the carrier signal. So everything is same. Vc cos in terms of 2 pi fct we are going to write theta of t. So theta of t is nothing but 2 pi fct plus kp into m of t. So kp into m of t. So here because kp means phase constant of the, means it's a constant for the PM signal. So therefore now delta means change in theta of t is equal to theta of t minus 2 pi fct. So this is delta theta of t. So is equal to kp into m of t. So now we need to find what is the phase deviation. The phase deviation is nothing but delta phi. The phase deviation is nothing but the peak value of this one. So this mod indicates the positive value and also peak value. This mod indicates positive and also the peak value. So therefore this one. So therefore, so we know that this value which is kp into m of t. So kp is always a positive value. So therefore kp we are going to take here outside. This represents maximum value of the m of t, maximum positive value of the m of t. So therefore this we can write is equal to delta phi means phase deviation. The maximum phase deviation is equal to beta into p. Beta p is called as the modulation index in the PM wave or phase modulation. So modulation index of the PM wave. So therefore we can conclude that this delta phi, the phase deviation in the phase modulation, is equal to, is directly proportional to peak value of the message signal. Is directly proportional to the peak value of the message signal. So we can conclude that this phase deviation in the PM is going to depend only on the message signal peak value. So now we are going to solve the 74th question. See the question here. In phase modulation, the frequency deviation is. So in phase modulation, the frequency deviation is directly proportional to the modulating signal frequency. So option C is the correct solution of the question. So let's solve this numerical. See, now this is the message signal standard waveform, which is Vm cos 2 pi fmt, and the carrier signal standard equation is Vc into cos 2 pi fct. So for the phase modulation, I have already told you in the previous example. So Vc into cos theta of t, where theta of t is equal to 2 pi fct plus kp into m of t. So therefore now theta of t, so omega of t is nothing but differentiation of the previous one. So now I am going to do the differentiation of this equation. So therefore 2 pi fc, this is kp into, because message signal is depending on time, so therefore I am going to take it as differentiation, and kp is always a constant. So therefore now here omega of t is equal to 2 pi fi of t. So the remaining thing is same. So the now only thing, the frequency fi of t I need to figure out. So therefore divide by 2 pi. So therefore 2 pi gas cancels. So I am going to get here fc, and here I am going to divide by 2 pi. So therefore kp by 2 pi into d by dt of m of t. So now delta Fi of t is equal to Fi of t minus Fc. So this is the thing I am going to get here. So the frequency deviation is equal to magnitude of, it is called as the positive peak value of the delta A of t. So therefore delta A of t is nothing but kb by 2 pi. Kb by 2 pi is always a constant value and it is also a positive value. So therefore kb by 2 pi into this one, magnitude of dm of dt by dt. This is nothing but maximum positive peak value of this function. So now we need to find what is d by dt of m of t. So we know the value of m of t. So now I am going to do the differentiation. dm of t by dt is equal to, so cos is nothing but minus sign 2 pi fmt. So this 2 pi f is going to come outside. So this is the differentiation of the previous function. Now I need to only know the what is the positive peak value. The positive peak value is nothing but Vm into 2 pi Fm. This is the positive peak value of this function. So now I am going to substitute here. See, delta we all know, which is kb by 2 pi into peak value of this function. The peak value of the function which we already figured out, which is Vm into 2 pi Fm. So therefore Vm into 2 pi Fm. So this 2 pi get cancels. So therefore delta F is equal to, so delta F is nothing but frequency deviation in the phase modulation is equal to kp Vm into Fm. So if you see carefully, this frequency deviation is directly proportional to the message signal peak value and also the message signal frequency, or it is also called as a modulating signal peak value and the modulating signal frequency. So therefore we can conclude that this delta F is directly proportional to the frequency of the message signal or frequency of the modulated signal, and it is also proportional to the peak value of the message signal or the peak value of the modulating signal. And this phase deviation we already studied in the previous example only. So the phase deviation in the PM is directly proportional to the peak value of the message signal. So now I am going to solve the 75th question. See the question here. An FM signal with modulation index MF is passed through a frequency tripler. The modulation index of the output signal will be. So now the FM signal is given as the input. So therefore it has a modulation index MF. So now the output of this signal will have modulation index. What is that value we need to figure out? So what are the four options? Option B, 3 MF is a correct solution of this question. So let's solve this numerical. So now before solve this question, let me tell a small concept here. So now suppose we are going to keep a square law device, which is nothing but, see, the output is the square of the input. So this is this system is going to do as a function squaring the input signal. So therefore now, see, let me assume x of t is a FM signal. This is the standard equation of the FM signal. Then the output is we are going to get in this fashion. So if you do the square of this function, so cos square theta is equal to 2 cos square theta minus 1. So this is cos square theta. So solved in this manner, we are going to get this equation. And if you compare this both equations, input and output, x of t is the input and y of t is the output. See here, now this is the frequency Fc. So this is here 2Fc. So if the input is Fc, output is as 2Fc, twice the carrier input, means input frequency. And if here it is delta F, beta is the modulation index, here it is 2 beta. So therefore this is the beta, means here it is 2 beta. And here standard deviation means frequency deviation is delta F, means here for the input if the bandwidth is BW, then for the output the bandwidth is twice the input bandwidth, but it is nearly but not exactly. It is nearly equal to twice the bandwidth of the input signal. And here if this is the message signal frequency, the output is also same. FM is here also output same FM. There is no multiplication by anything. So therefore here also FM. This is for the square law device. But now let's do for the cube law device, means if the output is the cube of the input function. So therefore x cube of t. So therefore for the input x of t and the output y of t. So what the same manner we are going to get here. So if the beta is modulation index, so for the square device means 2 beta. For the cube device means it will become 3 beta. So therefore if the input has a modulation index beta, means the output will have a modulation index of 3 times of beta. But here in the question they are given beta is nothing but MF. So therefore 3 beta is equal to 3 MF. So therefore if the input has a modulation index of MF, the output will have a modulation index of thrice the input modulation index. So therefore 3 MF for the cube law device. But for the square law device, if it is a beta, means output will have 2 beta, because suppose we are going to do here, suppose we are going to give nth. Suppose if you are doing the nth square root, means nth root square, then it is, suppose this is MF, this is a beta for the nth device. For n square law device it will become n beta. So therefore we are going to just take here, if n is equal to 1 means 1, n is equal to 2 means 2, n is equal to 3 means 3, but here they are going to use the cubed law. So therefore n is equal to 3, so 3 into beta. So now we are going to solve the 76th question. See the question here. A device with input x of t and output y of t is characteristic by y of t is equal to x square of t, and FM signal with frequency deviation of 90 kHz and the modulating signal bandwidth of 5 kHz is applied to this device. The bandwidth of the output signal is. So This example is also based on the previous concept only. Here, if the input is x of t and the output is y of t, so output is the square of the input, and also they are given the frequency deviation of the input signal, which is 90 kilohertz, and also the modulating signal bandwidth is 5 kilohertz. So now we need to find what is the bandwidth of the output signal, means y of t we need to figure out. So out of the four options, option A 370 kilohertz is the correct solution of this question. See, this question is also based on the previous concept. I have already told you. See, if x of t is the input, then the output is the square of the input. See, if x of t is the FM signal, the output expression also I have told in the previous example. So see carefully, this concept I have told you. If the input and the output, if the input frequency is FC, means it is twice the FC. If it is a beta, means twice the beta. If delta F means twice the delta F. And here bandwidth BW means it is nearly but not exactly. It is nearly equal to twice the bandwidth of the input signal. And here FM is, it is also FM. In the question they are given the frequency deviation of the input signal. This is for the input and this is for the output I am going to do. So frequency deviation of the input signal they are given 90 kilohertz. And the message signal frequency of the input they have given, which is 5 kilohertz. So based on this I am going to calculate what is the bandwidth of the bandwidth of the input signal. The basic formula by using the constant, which is twice the delta F plus FM. So delta F is nothing but a frequency deviation of the input signal, and the FM is the message signal in the input. So therefore this is 90 plus 5, and if you solve this one we are going to get 190 kilohertz. This is the 190 kilohertz of this is the bandwidth of the input signal, which is x of t. So in the question they are asking what is the bandwidth of the output signal they are asking, but not the input signal. See, I have already told you, if this is input as delta F means the output will have twice the delta F. So twice the delta F. So delta F, you know, which is 90. So 2 into 90 is equal to 180. And similarly, here FM remains constant in the input and the output. So therefore here also same, FM is equal to 5 kilohertz. But now we have to find what is the bandwidth of the output signal. The basic formula is twice into here the frequency deviation of the output signal and the message signal of the output we have to take here. Output is y. So therefore the frequency deviation of the output is nothing but here 180 kilohertz, and the frequency or the message signal frequency of the output is same, which is 5 kilohertz. So 5. So if you solve this one, we are going to get 370 kilohertz. This is the 370 kilohertz. And if you see clearly here, this is the correct option. But there is also, I already told you, the bandwidth of the output signal is nearly twice the bandwidth of the input signal. So bandwidth of the input signal is 180 kilohertz. So therefore the bandwidth of the output signal is twice the bandwidth of the input signal. So nearly, so 2 into this is 180. So this is nearly equal to 380. So this 380 option is also present here. So that is the reason this always is not exact value. This is only a near value, but the exact way we have to do it in this manner. So therefore this is the exact way to do the bandwidth of the output signal. So therefore we can tell that the bandwidth of the output signal is 370 kilohertz, but not the 380, because this is just a near value. It is not exact value. So therefore the exact value is 370. So therefore out of these four options, option A is the correct solution of this question. See, now we are going to solve the 77th question. See the question here. A carrier is phase modulated with frequency deviation of 10 kilohertz by a singleton frequency of 1 kilohertz. If the singleton frequency is increased to 2 kilohertz, assuming that phase division remains unchanged, the bandwidth of the PM signal is. So in the first case, they are given a frequency deviation is delta F is equal to 10 kilohertz, and the FM singleton frequency means message signal frequency, which is 1 kilohertz. So if the frequency of the message signal is increased to 2 kilohertz, then what is the bandwidth? Assuming that here, we are going to assume that the phase deviation is constant in the first case and also second case. So we need to find what is the bandwidth in the second case. We need to figure out. So what are the four options? Option D is the 44 kilohertz is the correct solution of this question. So let's solve this numerical. So in the first case, they are given the frequency deviation is 10 kilohertz and the message signal frequency is 1 kilohertz. So if the message signal is increased to 2 kilohertz, then what is the bandwidth of this new signal in the second case? We need to figure out. So this is the first case and also the second case. This is for the phase modulation. So here I already told you beta is nothing but delta F by FM. But this is the first case, right? So I am going to use here letter 1. So 1 1 1. So this value we know, which is 10 kilohertz by 1 kilohertz is nothing but 10. So therefore this is the 10. I have already told you in FM and PM always the phase deviation is equal to the modulation index. So therefore this is the first case, right? So that's why I have written 1. So this is second case. For second case, the message signal frequency is 2 kilohertz. So now we are going to find what is this bandwidth for this new message. For this second case, we need to figure out. So in the question they also given that the phase deviation is remains constant, means in the first case and second case the phase deviation is same. So therefore the phase deviation we know which is equal to beta. So therefore beta 1 is equal to beta 2. So we know the value of beta 1 which is 10. So therefore beta 2 is also equal to 10. So now we need to find what is the bandwidth of this second case. So the bandwidth basic formula for FM or PM, the basic formula is 2 into delta F plus FM. But delta F is equal to beta into FM. So therefore 2 into beta plus 1 into FM. So now we are going to calculate the bandwidth for the second case. So therefore this is beta 2 and this is FM2. So therefore beta 2 is 10 and FM2 is 2 kilohertz. And if you do the calculation, we are going to get here 44 kilohertz. So therefore the bandwidth for the second case is 44 kilohertz. So this is the bandwidth for the second case. But still if you want to find what is the bandwidth for the first case, is nothing but same formula, 2 into beta 1 plus 1 into FM. So beta 1 value we know which is 10 and FM1 is 1 kilohertz. So therefore for the first case the bandwidth is 22 kilohertz and for the second case the bandwidth 44 kilohertz. But in the question they asked what is the bandwidth for the second case. So therefore 44 kilohertz is the correct solution of this question. So now we are going to solve the 70th question. See the question here. Two carriers 40 megahertz and 80 megahertz respectively are frequency modulated by a signal of frequency 4 kilohertz such that the bandwidth of the FM signal in the two cases are same. The peak deviation in the two cases are in the ratio. So they are given it two cases. For the first case carrier signal and also the message signal, and the same message signal for the both cases we are going to take. So now in the question they also given the bandwidth of the two cases are same. We need to find what is the ratio of the peak deviation, is nothing but maximum frequency deviation we need to figure out. So out of the four options, option C 1:1 is the correct solution of this question. So let's solve this numerical. So here also we are going to assume the two cases. So here they are given the carrier signal, first carrier signal frequency is 40 megahertz and the second carrier signal frequency is 20 megahertz. So the message signal is same message signal we are going to apply for the two things, which is FM is equal to 4 kilohertz and FM is equal to 4 kilohertz. They also given the bandwidth of the first signal is equal to bandwidth of the second case. So the basic bandwidth formula is nothing but 2 into delta F plus FM is the basic. So we need to equate the bandwidth of these two signals. So therefore bandwidth is 2 into delta F1 because FM is constant in the both cases. So therefore FM is constant. Here first case means 1, second case means 2. So therefore here 2 to get cancels and also FM get cancels. So therefore is nothing but delta F1 by delta F2 is equal to 1:1. So therefore in the question they ask what is the ratio of the peak deviation. Peak deviation is nothing but ratio of the frequency deviation they are asking. So therefore we can conclude that delta F1 by delta F2 is equal to 1:1. Means here the bandwidth is independent. The bandwidth is independent of the carrier frequency. It is going to depend only on the delta F and FM. So even though we are going to change the frequency of the carrier signal, the bandwidth is not affected. Means bandwidth is still the same. So therefore we can conclude that the peak frequency deviation in the two cases is 1:1. Means they are going to have the same peak frequency deviation. So now we are going to solve the 79th question. See the question here. The signal m of t as shown is applied to both a phase modulator with kb as a phase constant and a frequency modulator with kf as a frequency constant having the same carrier frequency. So here the message signal is the input for the both PM and also the FM. So now here they also given that the carrier frequency is same for the same case. So message signal and the carrier signal, message signal and carrier signal for the phase modulation and also the FM frequency modulation. So now the ratio kb by kf for the same maximum phase deviation is, so for FM and PM the maximum phase deviation is constant. So for the both cases they are given it is equal. So now we need to find what is the ratio of the kp by kf we need to figure out. So what are the four options? Option B, which is 4 pi, is the correct solution of this question. So let's solve this numerical. So this is the message signal. This is nothing but a periodic signal of positive peak value +2 and negative peak value of -2, and the time period of the signal is 4 seconds. So therefore now here this signal is given for the phase modulation and also the frequency modulation. So in the question they have said that, so this is the phase modulation, so the input is that message signal and the carrier is C of t. So the carrier and the message signal is same in both the cases. In FM also, for FM modulation input is m of t and the carrier is same carrier. So whatever the carrier you are going to use in PM, same carrier we are going to use in FM, and same message signal, whatever the message signal you are going to use in PM, same message signal we are going to use in the FM also. But only thing is we need to find what is the kp by kf ratio. So when the phase deviation in the PM is equal to phase deviation in the FM, they are already given in the question. So
The output is S of t PM, means S of the standard waveform in the PM. This is nothing but this is the equation. And if you see carefully, the phase deviation in the PM is nothing but, so I am going to use a P symbol. P implies that the phase deviation in the PM. So therefore is equal to beta. I have already told you the phase deviation is always equal to the modulation index, whether it is a PM or FM. But I am going to use a subscript here P because for PM. So therefore this is Kp into mod of M of t. This mod is nothing but positive peak value of the message signal. So positive peak value of the message signal is +2. So therefore 2 into Kp. So therefore the phase deviation in the PM phase modulation is 2 into Kp. So now we need to find what is the phase modulation in the phase deviation in the FM also. So when M of t, C of t we are going to give, so we are going to get output as S of t FM. So S of t FM, this is the standard equation. So now we are going to get the phase deviation in the FM signal is nothing but which is 2 pi kf into integration of M of t with a peak value we need to take here, mod. This is the mod value. Mod is nothing but positive peak value of the integration of this signal. So now we need to find what is the integration of this signal. So this is a square signal, right? Square is nothing but we are going to get a triangle signal for the integration. So therefore the positive area +2 into +2 is nothing but area is +4. So at t is equal to 2 we are going to get a peak value 4. It is a positive area, negative area. So at t lies between 2 to 4 the area goes on decreases. So therefore we are going to get finally at t is equal to 4 seconds the integration will become 0. So therefore this is a periodic signal, right? So it is going to repeat again. So therefore this is 6, this is 8, so it goes on repeat. So this is the same signal, this is a periodic signal, this is the integration. So now we need to take only the positive peak value of the integration of this signal. So this is the integration of the signal. So the positive peak value is nothing but 4. So therefore here 2 pi kf into 4. So therefore 2 pi kf into 4 is equal to 8 pi kf. So this is the phase deviation in the frequency modulation. In the question they are given the phase deviation in the PM is equal to phase deviation in the FM. So now we have to equate these two equations. So therefore delta phi p is equal to delta phi f. Delta phi p we know, which is 2 into kp. It is 8 pi kf. So therefore kp by kf is equal to 4 pi. So therefore this is a correct solution of this question. The only thing which we have to know is this phase deviation in the PM and the phase deviation in the FM. These equations if you know, then we can easily simplify this question. So now we are going to solve the last question of this lecture. See the question here. In a super heterodyne receiver, the intermediate frequency is 455 kilohertz, and if it is tuned to 200 kilohertz, the image frequency will be. So Fs is equal to 200 kilohertz and the intermediate frequency is 455 kilohertz. So now we have to find what is the image frequency. So what are the four options? Option C, 2110 kilohertz is the correct solution of this question. So let's solve this numerical. So in the super heterodyne receiver, this is a concept here. This is a two formulas. If you know these two formulas, we can easily solve the numericals in the super heterodyne receiver, which is here. This is a frequency range. So here Fs is called as the supply frequency or incoming signal frequency, or it is also called as a tuned signal frequency, and FLO is called as a local oscillator frequency, and FSI is called as a image signal frequency. So therefore the distance between these two signals is, these two frequencies is intermediate frequency, and the distance between these two frequencies is called as the intermediate frequency. So therefore FLO is equal to Fs plus IF, and similarly FSI is equal to Fs plus 2IF. So we can write in another fashion also, which is equal to FLO plus IF also we can write. So if you know these formulas, it is easy to solve the questions in the super heterodyne receiver. So therefore in the question they are given the intermediate frequency is 455 kilohertz, and also they are given a incoming signal frequency or the tuned frequency is 200 kilohertz. So now we need to find what is the image signal frequency, FSI. So therefore FSI is equal to Fs plus 2 into IF. So Fs we know, which is 200 kilohertz, and IF is 455 kilohertz. And if you substitute here, we are going to get here image signal frequency is 2110 kilohertz. So this is a basic relation. So Fs is called as the incoming signal frequency or the tuned signal frequency, and FLO is called as the local oscillator frequency, and FSI is called as the image signal frequency, and the distance or the difference between these two frequencies is the intermediate frequency. So FLO is equal to Fs plus IF, and FSI is equal to Fs plus 2IF, or we can write it as FSI is equal to FLO plus IF. So if you know this one, we can easily solve these numericals.
So by this lecture, we have successfully completed the 80 questions, which are the previous year questions of the communication systems of IES or ESC electrical engineering in a very detailed manner. And if you like the content of our channel, then please do like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon button. So whenever we upload a new video, the direct notification comes to mobile. If any improvements in our lectures, then please do comment in the comment section. We will definitely include all those improvements in the coming lectures. Thank you so much for watching this lecture. Keep smiling, take care, and bye-bye.